Republican presidential candidate Chris Christie is furious about the fact that he is the only Republican candidate out there talking nonstop about how bad Donald Trump is, right? It's like these other candidates don't even seem to notice that Donald Trump has 91 felony charges against him. Chris Christie, by the way, it's worth noting, is polling at 2%. And he has run his Republican presidential campaign on a very strict I hate Trump platform, which I got to tell you, Chris Christie, if you wanted to launch a YouTube channel, it would do great traffic, just being the I hate Trump guy all day, every day. But when you're running for office, sometimes you need a little bit more than that. But here is what Chris Christie told Morning Joe this week. It bothers me just as much that people were in the race pretending to run for president, like run against Donald Trump. And look, when we were at the debate, and the one complaint I did have about the last debate was there was not one question about Donald Trump. I'm like, are we pretending that we're just the only 5 candidates up here for president and it's amongst us? The guy who's 20, 30 points ahead of all of us, we're not going to even bring him up and talk about him? I mean, this is the kind of stuff that drives me crazy. And now we got a situation where you've got different candidates saying different things depending on what state they're in. So on the stage, you had Governor Haley talking about, we don't want to be divisive about abortion yet. Then she goes to Iowa, sits across from Bob Vanderplatz last week and says she'd sign a 6-week ban on abortion. And you would not. You absolutely not. If I were president, I would not sign a national 6-week abortion ban. He, goes into that, and he's not wrong about that. Look, Chris Christie is the kind of guy who, 8 years ago, I guess it would be, he was basically the Donald Trump of the day. Just about as corrupt and horrific as you could get. A bully, a mean guy, said horrible things about people he didn't like. And now today, he's kind of like this resistance hero, even among some people on the left. They don't worship this guy just because we hate the same one. I love this phrase, and I use it all the time. Just because we have a common enemy does not mean that we have common goals, because we certainly do not. But just in terms of political strategy, let's get to that. I'm going to take off my partisan blinders. I'm going to pretend for a moment that I am a Republican strategist or a Republican campaign manager. It's gross, but I'm pretending. I'm telling Chris Christie, listen, man, we get it. You don't like Trump. Hey, look, we don't like Trump either. But your polls are not going up. And all you do is talk about Trump. Okay? That's not resonating with the voters. You've been doing it for months now and your polls have only gone down. So maybe, I don't know, try a different message. Because here's the thing about Chris Christie. It is like 95%, ooh, Trump is bad and Trump should go to jail. I agree with you, by the way. But you also have to have ideas. You have to go to the voters and say, yeah, Trump sucks. But listen, he doesn't just suck because he's going to jail. Look at what his trade war did to American farmers. Look at the fact that he promised you these jobs and ended up losing more jobs than any president in modern history. I have a plan. That's when you pivot to your plan after you attack your opponent to fix these problems. And my plan is to do X, Y, and Z. Chris Christie doesn't do that because Chris Christie doesn't actually have a plan. Chris Christie just wants the honor of being president of the United States, and he thinks he can get there by simply bashing Donald Trump. If that was the only qualification somebody needed to be president of the United States, well, I would be elected next year, hands down. Trust me, you need more than that, and Chris Christie simply ain't got it. Ring of Fire has fresh content 7 days a week, so if you want to be reminded about it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell to be notified every time a new video goes up.